vehicle for 2 men and a truck.
They were
Because
awesome.
2 old folks can't do that. We had too much stuff. We've had 45 years together to accumulate a lot of junk. And it's difficult to put 5 bedrooms in a 3-bedroom house. It's kind of got an overflow.
But
Yeah.
the Lord provided. So, ladies, there's a new program here at church. It's called Blessed to Bless. It's a mentoring program. It'll start this fall. They did a pilot this spring, and I was in it. And so you're supposed to have your mentee in your home before April the 1st, just to do something. So Thursday, Devin Mosley came for lunch. I had Haviland China, my mother's linen, my Rose Point Sterling, and Waterford Crystal for our lunch. And just before she got there, John called and he said, "We may have to move." And I'm like, "What?" I said, "Well, call me back in a minute. She's almost here." So while we were still eating, John walked in the door and said, "I've lined up movers. We're moving tomorrow, and I've got a place for us to live." And he did. The Lord provided a house a half a mile away, and Ricky and Cherie Corcoran, it's their house. And they were out of town, so John can tell you how he broke in. But the Lord provided. And irony of all irony, my mother actually lived in that house, so we were familiar with the house. So Jennifer and a lot of people offered. Jennifer and Stanley and Rusty and Linda Scaffadel came over Thursday night after Devin left while John went to break into the new house. I went through every room and picked out the few things that were most important. So they helped us pack all that up, and there's a long closet in that house, and so we hand carried all those things there. And then the next morning, 2 men in a truck showed up, and literally from 48 hours from sitting at my dining room table with my Sterling and Crystal, I was in my new home. It's just stuff. And so Jennifer and I call Stanley a wise one, and he is a wise one. So he said, you don't want your stuff to own you. You don't need to reverse that, and not just saying it's stuff. And I know that, but actually we were thinking about changing, and I would have never tackled that, but in 48 hours we did, and our kids are so thankful because I decided that I would just leave it there and they'd have to deal with all of it. So
the power companies were very helpful getting electricity turned on. I had trouble with Atmos, but God intervened, and Atmos was overruled. I tell you that I spoke to 2 people in Texas. That's where their office is when you call to have a service turned on. I was going to have the new service turned on, and I didn't care about the other one. That was their problem. But they were concerned about that. They wanted to send somebody emergency out to turn off the gas in our house on Canterbury Court. And I could not convince them in any way, form, or fashion to turn my gas on in the new place before Tuesday. I asked to speak to the supervisor, who was unimpressed. I said, "You realize it's going to be 20 degrees in Jackson, Mississippi. You don't care about that." "Sir, just nothing I can do about it." But they were willing to send somebody to turn the gas off on my Canterbury house. I said, "The place I'm moving is less than a half a mile from that, and you tell me you can't get that man to go on up and turn that gas on." I said, "I'm sorry, we can't do anything about that." So I was asked to speak to the manager, and they said, there's not one here. Where you've talked to everybody you can. I didn't believe that, but there was no point fighting it any farther. So God provided that man to go down and check on my gas, turn it off, and I sung that same song to him, and he said, "I got you." He went up there and turned my gas on. So people in Jackson are a lot more compassionate than those in Texas.
John, I got a son that works for Energy. If you ever have any problem, one call. Call the Public Service Commissioner.
Well,
he'll call the president or whatever, and I assure you it'll get done now.
I will I'll be in contact with the Public Service Commission over this Atmos stuff, that's for sure. If you can turn it off, you can come turn it on.
Absolutely.
And
But
y'all,
it was
she
a-
had entertained 15 of us for a Bible study on Tuesday night. She is.
So I got to enjoy my house with y'all. Yes, that was wonderful. And it didn't rain. This morning we woke up, there was a little pitter patter, and but it didn't rain, so we just had blessing after blessing. I'm just thankful. So John had the foresight he immediately got all that lined up, and God provided. So we're very thankful. And tell him about
Still no water this
Yeah.
morning. We're still dry. If it's gonna crest this morning sometime, hopefully the house will stay dry.
And our son-in-law went to get us a few sandbags Thursday night. We were going to put around or Friday
Doors.
night, whatever. We were going to put around the doors. Well, while he was standing there, he was YouTubing about how to do sandbags. So he came up with this plan. So actually, there's visqueen all around our house with sandbags. He's got sandbags in the toilet so it won't come up through the drains. And our neighbor has a father with many resources, and engineers were over there doing their house and all. So ours looks a lot like theirs. And Matt and our wonderful son-in-law, Matt Jones, and his crew did that yesterday.
That's
so
right.
we are blessed.
And Friday was our granddaughter's 9th birthday. She won't forget that one.
Yes.
Thank
So,
y'all.
Thank y'all.